We want to be specific, but let's see what the Bible says and keep it that way. I pray this is helpful to you. I am praying for you because I know what it feels like to have people in your life that don't fully understand biblical truth. But I want you to focus on, do they know enough that they can be saved from hell? And you would say, what is that? What do they need to know? They need to know their sin separates them from God. There's a payment for that sin, which they would have to
see what he's doing. I mean, where is this in the Bible? The Bible says they must believe that Jesus is the Christ. He's telling them now. I mean, he didn't say this before either. Before he said that they must believe that Jesus is the Christ. John 20:31. That's what he read. Then later he said they must trust in the death, burial, resurrection. Right? I covered that. Now he's saying this. They must know that what?
From hell. And you would say, what is that? What do they need to know? They need to know their sin separates them from God. There's a payment for that sin, which they would have to spend an eternity in hell if there's not a payment applied for them.
See, they have to understand all that. They have to understand all that now. Sin separates them from God. There's a payment for sin. If they don't make the payment, they have to go to hell for eternity. The Bible does not say any of this stuff. The Bible says, whosoever believeth that Jesus is the Christ is born of God. Okay? That's simple. That's the simple message of the Bible, the simple milk of the word. But he's giving you this complicated thing, which again, like I say, he's changed his message 3 times in this video, just that I'm aware of. I haven't even really looked at it in depth. But he already said, at one time he said that they must believe Jesus is the Christ. But he also tried to say they must believe that he's the Christ that died for their sins and rose from the dead, which is wrong. That's not what it says. And we know that because the disciples didn't know that. Then he said that they have to believe that they have to believe in the death, or they have to trust in the death, burial, resurrection. Right? He said that. And now he's saying that they have to know that. What did he say?
What do they need to know? They need to know their sin separates them from God.
Their sin separates them from God.
There's a payment for that sin, which
there's a payment for that sin.
They would have to spend an eternity in hell if there's not a payment applied for them.
Which they would have to spend eternity in hell if that payment wasn't applied for them. Which this is 3 things now.
But that God, out of his love, sent his son to die in their place.
Now they have to know that God sent his son, which is in John 3:16. But now he says, that he sent his son to die in their place. That's not in John 3:16. It's not in John 20:31 or 1 John 5:1. So he's adding a ton of stuff here that's just not in the Word of God.